All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this. Would you like to optimize your success out in the field? Metal detecting and gold prospecting? One word: Coil Tech. They've been manufacturing high-performance aftermarket coils for years now for popular models such as the E-Track, the Sovereign, the Explorer series, the GPX series, and our favorite, the 10x5 for the CTX 3030. Great target separation in trashy areas, still maintaining excellent depth for the coil size. Coil Tech is optimizing discovery, your potential for success in the field. You can check them out at coiltechmanufacturing.com.au. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right, we're back and we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound Metal Detecting and Treasure Hunting Radio for the really cool digging people out there. And as I look into the chat, I see that there are a number of people dropping in already. Not sure how it is that Bill beat Homefinder in. I'll have to figure that out. Good trick, though. Definitely a good trick. And we see that Michael's in the house, Homefinder, Dawn, the Ohio Relic Hunter, the man first through the gate tonight. And then obviously Homefinder, Miss Barb, who is actually on the line with us tonight. I don't know if I keep hanging up on her or what. I'm having some sort of technical difficulty over here on my end. But we'll see what happens, and at least for now, she's here. So we'll see how that rolls. Hopefully all goes well. And, as everybody else drops into the chat, definitely we'll try to acknowledge them as we see them. Jersey Digmore's in the house. Wow, been a while since we've seen him. Oh, but, we'll try to get through tonight's show. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty over here, Barb. Just a little bit, though. I think...
Actually, it was ringing, and then I didn't hear anything, so I didn't know if you had me on ignore. I was like, maybe I'm getting through, maybe I'm not. So I figured the worst scenario, you would
Right. Yeah, I was just trying to make it through the music there at the beginning of the show, and it was being a little problematic with me. I think my mouse has a broken leg or something because it's not wanting to respond like it should. But hey, what do you do? Yeah, something. I don't know. It was causing a little bit of a hiccup, but now that we're through all that, hopefully we can make it through the rest. But before we get rolling with that, I guess first off, congratulations on your article.
I haven't read it, so I don't know if they edited it or not. So Michael's saying my sound isn't great. How about now?
Well, I can hear you. So hopefully it does all right. We'll see what they say in the chat. Normally it comes through well.
First scenario, I can always type in with the headset if I have to.
Right. I see that Suki, Swansea, and Jesse are also in the chat.
Bill says he can't hear me at all either. So does Jesse. So maybe I need to type in.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's try it now. I bet they hear you real good now.
How about that now, guys?
Now they're going, holy crap, you got loud, Barb.
No, Brandon the smart arse said, for once, Barb's silent.
Yeah, well, remember I said I was having a little technical difficulty with my mouse not responding like it should?
Well, they hear me now. Ohio Relic Hunter just said, crap, there she is.
Yeah, that little bit of technical difficulty with my mouse not responding like it should, it seems like apparently my mouse decided to mute you.
That's okay. They just missed us BSing about your mouse balls being bad, but, you know.
Right, and, you know, I didn't, at the chance of getting the plank, I guess, I haven't read the article myself yet either.
Well, I wrote it, and you never know what those editor kind of people are going to do to your article.
Oh, boy, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if it's what I submitted, shorter, longer, who knows.
Right, see what sort of changes may have been made after you sent it off.
And then, of course, I kept sending pictures as I found things, so I have no clue what was used, what wasn't used. They said mine should be here this week, so I'll know then.
Well, hopefully they were all used.
Well, there were so many. I mean, you know, and I sent some killer ones at the end there, the pocket watch front and a couple of other things, but I didn't send all the pictures. I'm working on Striker case number 2 in their big cases. I think the 16 by 12. So quite a lot of finds out of there.
Nice. That is awesome. Definitely awesome. Well, and you've worked hard for it, too. So I'm sure that even if the article was changed around a little bit, it's still going to be a good article. You're still going to be happy that it was published.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I posted on my page about it, thanking Butch and Anita, and Butch was like, that was an awesome article. So who else can you argue with but him?
Right. Yeah, definitely. So we've gotten to see a little bit about what's going on with the upcoming American Digger issue then, so that the listeners who subscribe have something to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah, I'm waiting for, I need to go to their webpage. Once I get it, because I want to make sure I ordered the right one, I'm going to send a copy to my mom. I think she'll enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, I would think. Speaking of which, how is she doing? I mean, those look like some pretty nasty pictures you posted the other day.
Oh, and then there were worse ones. My mother is going to be 84, and she drives a Toyota RAV4, but it's not for all-wheel drive. And she had to work the morning it hit, to help out her boss. And when I couldn't get a hold of her all day, I finally drove where I could get cell signal and called their cell. And I said, please tell me you didn't take the beach road, you went the back way. And she's like, well, I got over the bridge, and there was one lane not in the water, so I thought, okay, I'm good. And then she got about probably a quarter of a mile where the boats were against the beach there, and she said, and then the road was totally underwater. Now, this is at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, yeah, did you turn around? She goes, well, I thought I should have. I went a little further, and it was getting deep, and the cops just kind of looked at me, so I waved to them and kept going. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah, and she tells me 3 times she should have turned around, and I'm like, yeah, the minute you thought about it, Mom, you should have turned around. You're lucky you made it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It almost sounded like this was going to turn into one of those hold my beer and watch this stories.
Yeah, it's a good thing she don't drink.
Right.
Now,
so,
my sister on the Cape just got power back like at 2:30 this morning.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
She
know.
went and, she went and stayed with a girlfriend who has gas logs because she said her house was like 30-something.
Ooh, that's cold.
Yeah. My mom never lost power at all.
Well, it sounds like she's gotten lucky a few times then.
Well, she is actually like a half a mile from the fire department, so she's on the main line, and so she very rarely ever loses power.
Well, that's a plus. And the way it sounds, there could be another storm coming in. Is that correct?
Yeah, hopefully not.
Wow. Well, I know they've all been getting tore up pretty good. It seems like depending on what area you're in, either it's just pouring down rain or it's snow or it's a combination of the two. Either way, it doesn't sound like any fun.
No, but I would have loved to have been there right afterwards to metal detect the beaches.
Right, yeah, as long as it's cutting the beach. It could be sanding it in.
If you've seen, it's EJ, is it Smith? I forget his last name. Yeah, did you see his finds? He hit a beach that washed out and pulled an antique gold pocket watch chain, a gold ring, and the coins were everywhere from Barbers to Shield nickels to Mercs to War nickels. I mean, Rosie's. It was crazy what he found.
Yeah, sounds like it's cutting them then. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're heading east.
Yeah. He actually hit another beach and didn't find anything. He said it's just kind of hit and miss whether the beach washed out or not.
Right. Yeah, so you're definitely going to have to do your research, in a sense, your site scouting.
Exactly, but I'm just glad they did say at least seven people died, so that's a shame. But hopefully, I did see, I don't know the person, but it was on the island. It was a beautiful, brand new black, I don't even know what kind of pickup truck, and the biggest tree in their yard fell on it and totaled it. I mean, crushed it to the ground.
Right. Fred had posted yesterday, I believe, that they had a pretty good-sized tree hit their front porch.
Yes, I've seen that.
That was a shame. At least no one was injured, though. That's always a plus.
I got to say, Fred is one classy guy. Our find of the month for February, there were some killer finds on Dirt Pirates. I mean, killer finds for the month. That I'm
Right.
looking at them going, how do you pick a winner?
Yeah.
Especially when I had the most likes for my dog tag, I thought, okay, well, I can't pick myself. So I asked the guys, and guys and women think different on what's the best find. So I went with the majority, which Fred's find was killer. Well, Fred declined it. He said, I think there's better finds on the page. And Swansea, don't get me started on Find of the Month. He's mad he didn't get it for his killer GW whatever button. But Fred really felt there were better finds than his and hit me in a PM. And so I said, Fred, you pick it. And so he picked Nathan Stewart's. It was a coin turned into a button, a really old coin.
Nice.
And so I give Fred kudos for that. I mean, how many people would say there were better finds than his? But his find was a very unique old find.
Well, and that's one thing I got to say about Fred. He, not only is he a very stand-up guy, but he's very humble, I guess you would say. He's very modest, and he'll put it out there what he thinks, his opinion, you know. And if he thinks there's better ones out there, he's going to tell you. Speaking of which, we had a caller on with us, but looks like they fell off.
It was probably Brandon. Good thing.
I'm not sure who it was. I didn't recognize it. I think it was a 541 area code. I'm not sure.
But Fred was like, I've won it once before, and, you know, give someone else a chance. And so I made him pick the winner.
So there you go. Make him have to shoulder the burden there. I like watching the Find of the Month contests, but I hate to try and run one myself because, like you said, there's so many good finds submitted. It's hard to narrow it down to just one find that warrants being called the winner.
Oh, exactly. And for February, I think that is the most finds we've had submitted in 1 month since we started this over a year ago.
Well, the group has grown in that time, for one. For two, we have had some unseasonably nice days, I guess you could say, for many of us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, I think there was 20-something finds posted. And I can say the young man who won it by default from Fred, he PM'd me and said, can I ask what I won? And I said, well, stickers and probably a coin or something else. And he was like, I am so happy. I've been wanting one of your stickers. So, so that was great. So,
yeah, I mean, the prize doesn't have to be anything huge or extravagant. Sometimes like in this case, he sounds like he was happy with just a sticker. He's been wanting to get one.
And that's normally what I give every month. I did send Dave Wise something different. I sent him stickers, but I had bid on things at the auction just because I thought they were cool, and one was an old coin. I'm trying to think if it was a King George, I think it was, maybe, on a keychain, and I sent that to Dave with stickers because I just thought that is so Dave. I bought it because I thought it was neat, and I bought things that I planned on giving away. You know, it was for a good cause for you, but I thought, on the other hand, I'll just give these things that don't tickle me, you know, that I have to keep. And Dave is like, oh, my keys are on it already.
Good deal. Well, apparently he really liked it then.
Yeah, it was him. I mean, when he won that month, I was like, oh, I'm sending him that. It's just sitting on my desk, and I'm going, what am I going to do with that?
Right. Well, that's awesome. It worked out well that way.
On another note, our 3-year anniversary is this month. It's around the 20th, but I leave the 21st to go to digging in Virginia. So we're going to have our 3-year anniversary party on Dirt Pirates the weekend before I leave. And I posted the first contest. I haven't made the post that you're going to post your entries into yet.
Right.
And it came from this chat of the guys all talking about how good you treat your metal detectors, and we were joking about giving them a bath and this and that. So I did a vid, and I'm really going to probably not add people to the group I had said tonight, but I may wait a week. But I don't want any last-come people trying to get in.
Right.
Because I've got really killer prizes, and I want them to go to people who have been on the page and not somebody, oh, I just heard, let me in, I want to steal something, you know.
Right, I want to be a pirate. 541, you're live. Who do we have?
Does Barb want to hear some good news?
Oh, no, is this Cody?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I'm afraid to tell her, but it's good news.
I'm crying already.
You want the good news?
You got an engine, you dang fool.
The good news, you don't have to worry about me finding an Indian, because I haven't got one yet.
Well,
that's payback for your post the other day.
You'll just have to keep trying.
I'll
tell you, every time
I was out detecting. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. She tagged me in a post while I was out detecting one day, and I was afraid to look at it for like 20 minutes because I was afraid that it was going to be an Indian popped up on my screen. So I finally got brave enough to look at it, and it was just a really green wheat penny. I about had a heart attack.
That's good, Barb.
So, you know what paybacks are, so that's what you get.
I'm still trying. I went out both days this weekend, and Digging in Virginia's coming, so you know I might pull engine out of there, so hang tough.
I keep wanting to pull one. I didn't go out this weekend. I got my dating partner canceled on me, so I didn't go out this weekend. I am going up north tomorrow.
It's a little hard to find the Indian if you don't get out there and look for it.
I'm going up north this weekend, so I might find one.
That's cheating.
I'm going up where there's a little bit older ground than what there is here.
I know.
I'll be spending a week up there, so we'll see what happens.
Wow.
That was Kodak. I knew it would.
I might even have to go live on Andy O'Neill's Saturday live digs.
Okay.
Well, you never know.
There.
Watch out for the snakes and the ticks.
I ain't worried about them.
Well, that's famous last words.
Oh, and I can't see the chat right now, but I'm pretty sure Bill Marsh asked me what I was having for dinner, and just so he's listening, I had fried chicken, Bill.
Ah. Well, Pear says hello.
Well, he needs to call me.
And so does Michael.
Well, he needs to call me, too.
Well, I guess you'll have to shoot them a message and let them know.
That's right.
Well, hey, what do you do?
So I want to hear more about these hunting grounds that Barb keeps hitting, because she's been finding some pretty nice stuff lately.
Excuse me, what was that?
He says he wants to hear more about these hunting grounds you've been hitting, because you've been finding some pretty nice stuff here lately, but I don't know. Pirates keep secrets. Well, some of them.
Well, I went to the university today. That's where I found that nice bling earring. It killed me when I pulled it out. I thought, if that's real, I'm going to die. My other finds are in the old lumber company site, and it's just state property. And, my ring I found last weekend was in my neighbor's backyard.
Yeah, so all over the place. And speaking of Mike, we've got him on the line with us, too.
Brother Boyle.
Oh, boy. How's everybody doing?
All right.
Good, and you?
Not too bad. A little sunburnt, but Good day out swinging.
Well, that sounds like a hell of a problem to have.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Did you do any good?
I didn't, personally. Just a couple weedies and clad. Dwight got a couple old weedies. I think the one was 1919 was the oldest one. Then Bill Keene, he was out with us. He got a 1912 V-nickel.
Ooh. No Indians, though.
Yeah.
Were there any Indians found? No Indians?
No. No Indians. Not today.
Sorry.
Well, what do you do? Hey, though, it all adds up. At least you got out. You did make some finds. You enjoyed the weather.
Oh, yeah. It was perfect weather down here today. I mean, I think it was in the low 80s. Don't mean to rub it into anybody.
Thanks, Michael.
I'll take
Next time, take your sunscreen with you.
I had sunscreen on, and my arms are still red as a lobster.
Yeah, apparently he didn't have good enough sunscreen.
Yeah, I put it on the first thing before we left, and while we're out, I forgot to put it in my bag, and sure enough, when you're out from 8 o'clock in the morning to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it kind of wears off.
Yeah, somewhere along the line you should replenish.
Yeah.
Well, but still, I mean, it was for a good cause. At least you got to enjoy the weather and, well, apparently the company as well, and make some finds on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
And since Michael
got to swing my Max out.
Nice.
Since Michael came up with that first medical dilemma, do you know what is the best thing you can do for a sunburn?
Oh, yeah. Aloe plant.
Yeah, but if you've got it, you got to have a lot of aloe if you've got that bad of a sunburn. Take a bath and put about 3 big, large Lipton or Walmart tea bags in it.
Oh, that's right.
Just keep pouring that over you, and it'll suck all that poison out, and it'll be good as gold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I may have to try and remember that. There have been times where I've literally been burnt enough that it turned me green.
No, I'm serious. It works. I fell asleep in Key West at 16 and took a tea bath with another family member, distant, who fell asleep with me, not together on our blankets. And we were both kids, and got back to my sister's and could barely walk, and she threw us in a cold bathtub, filled it up with cold water, and threw a ton of tea bags in, and we poured that over us till we couldn't bear it anymore. And the only place I peeled was my face.
No. Well, not bad. Sounds like a great home remedy.
It really works. Meat tenderizer, we carried that on our ambulance for people for jellyfish stings. I mean, it's just simple things that you can use to remedy.
Meat tenderizer?
Yep. Best thing, fish bites.
That or vinegar.
Now, I have heard that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Nope. We always carried a big bottle of meat tenderizer on the ambulance for jellyfish stings.
Wow. That is interesting. Well, it sounds like we're already off to a roll with some interesting little varmint problems.
Yeah, and I want to start with Lyme disease because, of course, Bill and I both have it.
Right, but
And
Cody's not worried about ticks.
Yeah, and you know what? I looked at everything. I looked at snakes. I looked at deaths by other animals. Of course, people were the biggest one that killed other people. But, I mean, looking at bears and snakes and spiders and ticks. Ticks are the most dangerous, but they don't kill you. You just have a lot of terrible side effects that go with them. But I was shocked at the biggest hot spots. Some of them I knew. The biggest hot spots for Lyme disease are Connecticut,
Right.
Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Maryland, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I'm talking every one of those states. I looked at the CDC between 2006 and 2016. Every one of those states had at least 1 year with over 4,000 cases in at least 1 year.
Right. And the last couple of years, Ohio has started to get a little bad, too, especially southern Ohio.
Actually, no. The next hot spots are Minnesota, New Hampshire, Mass, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Virginia.
Right.
Ohio has had less than 600 cases in the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I'm not by any means saying that it's a hot spot for them, but we have been dealing with the issue a little more regularly than you would think, it seems.
Yeah, it's bouncing up and down, though. They had, like, 1 year that they had, like 100 cases, but in 10 years, less than 600. So I think the problem with Ohio is because it is rare and not a prevalent state.
It doesn't get diagnosed as early.
Yeah, you don't get diagnosed because they're going, it's not here.
Right, exactly.
But can you guess the state that has absolutely no cases of Lyme disease?
Absolutely none?
None. Zero.
Hawaii.
Yes, it is. So if you don't want to get Lyme, go to Hawaii.
So they don't know how to swim.
Yeah, I guess not. And
or
I
either
do
that or
like
they're
that
having
Alaska.
problems booking a flight.
Swan, he just asked about Alaska, and after I wrote Hawaii down, I had to go back to this. Alaska has had less than 100 cases in the last 10 years. So
Wow.
almost as good to go to Alaska, but you can still get it.
Nice. Well, it goes to show you still got to be careful. At least be a little preemptive.
And this is what the funny thing is. You would think it's on the rise. I sat down and added up all these numbers for all the states. And in 2006, there were just under 20,000 cases. And now these are reported. These are not, I got it, but my doctor did. In most states, you have to report it to the CDC. So we went from under 20,000, just barely, in 2006 to 26,000 cases in 2016. So not a huge increase, but a little bit.
Well, that's still... Sounds like somebody's got a bag of chips.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I'm trying to keep it away from the phone.
Well,
Hey, you want to share some of that?
26,000 may not be a big increase, but that's still enough that number concerns me.
Yeah, and I think if it wasn't for the bug sprays and the socks, and I mean, the pyrethrum socks, they're great. I think you can wash them like 31 times, like who's counting? But again, you have to put your pants inside the socks so that they die before they get to your pants. If you just wear the socks and your pants are outside of them, they're going to just not even hit the socks. They're going to crawl right up you and get you.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, if you wear the socks right, yeah, you're going to look like a dork because you get your pants tucked in them. But to me, if you're in a state that it's prevalent, do it. Look like a dork. Who cares?
Right, yeah. If you're in a state where that is a prevalent issue, I could give a crap less what I look like, as long as I'm not having to worry about getting limes.
I guess I'll fit in. I look like a dork every day.
But there were 3 other states that it's almost non-existent, and I'm talking like 1, 0, occasionally 2 cases per year, and those are Colorado, Oklahoma, and Wyoming.
Wow. That's interesting.
It's like under 10 cases for 10 years. So if you're really worried about it, there you go. You can move.
Right, to Hawaii. Hey, the beach hunting would be great.
Oh, absolutely. Might have to get your pilot's license, though, so that you can island hop with your little plane.
Well, yeah, I guess that's always a possibility, too. Or if you've got a drone with enough range on it, maybe you can just kind of shoot it over the island and see if it's worth even going.
Oh, God. Somebody just posted that they're going to just start detecting in just socks.
I don't think I would advise that. But hey, more power to them. If they do, they can always get back to me with how that worked out for them.
Yeah. The thing is they drop from trees. I mean, I can be working on my driveway, leveling it out. I'm away from everything, and I'll walk up to the house, and I've got a tick or two on me, and it's because they're falling out of the stupid pine trees.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, you can wear the socks, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't happen to slip down the collar of your shirt somehow or something.
Exactly. So you need to not just rely on those, but also, you spray your clothes when in the summer when there are tons of them out there.
Right. And make sure to check yourself.
Yeah, in all the places that you don't want to.
Right.
So you're telling me it wouldn't be smart to wear a bikini when I'm out detecting in the tall grass?
That'd work out just great for you. They should stay away. Let me know how that works.
I should scare them away. They'll take one look at me and head east.
Well, I'm sure ticks aren't picky.
That's the good thing about living in Oregon. With the ticks that we do have, probably 99% of them do not carry diseases like that, like Lyme disease and stuff like that, so we don't have to worry about it too much.
Well, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't.
No, they definitely could. They've had cases in Oregon before. But that's another good thing is I don't really hunt woods and places like that. I mainly, me, I stick to sidewalk strips and in town, so I don't have to worry about the ticks a whole lot.
Right.
But
still, though, if you're not hunting woods, you're missing out on some good finds.
I got a lot of friends that hunt the old mines around here and the old ghost towns that are way back up in the sticks. They got to hike in, and they get ticks on them all the time. Yeah, they get rid of them, but they're never too worried about it.
But you know what? I didn't worry about it either. I mean, I grew up on Martha's Vineyard, and it's in, they consider it ground zero for Lyme disease. And after looking at the statistics, it's up there at the top. But I don't know how many ticks I pulled off me in the 20 years I lived there. And, maybe I did get it, maybe I didn't. I never felt like I was sick from it. But then I go home for a funeral.
Right, it only takes that one time.
Yeah, I'm detecting not really deep in the woods. It was around the property, and I end up getting damn Lyme disease.
When you least expect it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, I'll make sure I go wear my bikini up next time I'm in the woods and scare them off.
And we'll get you a pair of socks, and you can put those on, and you should be good.
Right, you got to make sure you wear your socks.
I look like a dork then. I'll wear those knee-high socks with my bikini.
Right. Right. And while you're at it, get one of them bright ones, too. One of them bright bikinis, so that way it's real easy to spot you.
So it'll also be a thong bottom, too. And a little shout out to Bill Marsh. Yes, you are getting this year's calendar of me wearing a bikini thong. You're welcome, Bill.
Well, that may be a little rough for Bill.
I've had my fun. I'm going back to the chat, guys.
All right. Thanks for your call, Cody.
I just wanted to come in and give Barb a hard time and, give her a little scare.
Yeah,
right.
You did.
I know I got it coming back to me, times 10, but that's okay.
Well, there you go.
I'll catch you all later.
All right.
Bye.
Well, then.
After I did the Lyme checkout with the CDC, I had to look at snakes because, to me, I'm more scared of a snake than I am a tick. Doxycycline's a pretty good drug when it works. So, Lyme can be... My problem is I never felt like I was over it, and I got sick this fall and ended up... My doctor wanted to give me doxycycline. I said, no, give me a Z-Pack. Well, it didn't work. So then I went, Lyme disease, doxycycline. Yeah, why don't you give me another script of that? And God, did I feel good for about 2-3 months after that. But now I'm back to where, can I have another round of doxycycline because I'm feeling my Lyme disease crap
Right.
again.
Yeah, everything starts kind of falling apart again. Speaking of New Hampshire, we've got Swansea on with us.
Hey, what's up, Josh? How you doing, Barbarian?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Not too bad. I just want to say another thing that you can learn about ticks, especially where we deal with them up here, is how to remove them. I mean, that's another big part of this before they embed in the skin. If they embed, take something like Vaseline or even chapstick and cover that entire area. They'll back themselves out because they breathe through their butthole, to put it politely. You can get them to come out on their own before they can sit in there, and try not to pull them out with tweezers unless you're going to spin them around because their head's in bed. Something as simple as Vaseline or some sort of a petroleum-based product, I think even olive oil or something like that would work if they're in far enough. They'll back themselves out so you don't have to worry about breaking the head off in the skin.
Right, that's a good point. And I like that idea. That could be handy for other situations as well, because I know a number of other people that breathe that way too.
So do I, Josh. I could name a few detectorists that breathe that way.
Right. Oh, we're bad tonight.
Yeah. But no, that is a legitimate fact, though, that they do breathe out their backside. So, take something with you as a new chapstick or a little container of Vaseline or something like that. If you get a tick that embeds itself where you literally can't get to it with something where you can bring it out, whole, they will literally back themselves out if they can't breathe because they don't want to suffocate themselves. That is actually a true thing.
Right. Basically, it's a defense mechanism. If you can't breathe, automatically you're going to go, well, hey, I need to back up.
Right.
No breathing past this point.
What people need to look at, they need to look at a picture of a deer tick under a microscope, and there's tons of pictures online. They have like little fangs that are like pinchers. And so when they embed. And the worst thing you can do is try to pull them out. They do have this nice little tool. It's called the tick remover that you slide under the body. But I have a hard time seeing it working with the deer tick because they're so small. So Swansea's way, just take a big wad of Vaseline and stick it over it. It will eventually back itself out.
I know the tool you're talking about, Barb, because we have one for the dog. It looks like a spoon with a little V carved into it, basically, and you're supposed to get that under the body, between the head and the body, and you spin it around in circles, and it does work on the larger ticks. The little micro ticks that we get up here, good luck getting that out of your own person or a dog that has thicker fur or anything like that. Again, that's why we use the Vaseline or the chapstick or whatever, something that's going to completely block the airways. But yeah, those tools work great on the larger ticks. The vet actually gave us one for our own dog because it's, again, that spoon bowl with a little V cut into it. You spin it in circles, and I don't know why the tick will release itself, but yeah, the little barbs on their legs, on the sides of the body, on the sides of their heads, it's almost like a pricker, and it works, counteractive when you're trying to pull them out. They literally will try to bury in deeper.
Right.
Right. Oh, they're probably going, what are you doing, Jerky? You're jacking my teeth all around here.
When I seen it, I thought, how could you get a deer tick with that, though? I mean, they have videos on it, and I'm like, that's great for a big tick, but how do you get... And it makes me wonder if you tried it with the deer tick. One, it probably ain't going to work. But two, would it not promote more of the bacteria being shot into you by aggravating that sucker that way?
That's my guess, too, is the more you agitate a tick, the more it's going to release those enzymes into your system. That's going to, of course, and this is why what people don't realize about a tick is they put out the bacteria from their own system to make it so you don't feel them. It kind of numbs that part, which is also flesh-eating bacteria at the same time. Yes, you don't feel it, but it also does more damage. So, to me, I'm not one to pull a tick. I'd rather make it leave on its own recognizance. You're less likely to have issues, and if it's going to back out on its own recognizance and not release that stuff, you're less likely, even if it's not Lyme's, like Doug just put it in here in the chat a few minutes ago, there's a lot of other diseases that these things can release into your body, too. It's not just Lyme's. There are some other, flesh-eating bacteria that these things can drop into your system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where Cody was saying that he's not worried about it. Well, there's a lot of things worse than Lyme's that these things can do. Lyme's is bad, don't get me wrong, but there's other things that can happen.
Oh, ticks carry, and when I knew I had Lyme, and once they treated, the doxycycline is good for almost all tick diseases except one or two of the really bad ones. It doesn't affect those. And so if you get treated and you're still not feeling better, you need to get tested for the other diseases.
Right, so they're carrying things out there worse than Lyme's. So, just because people may not be worried about Lyme's doesn't mean they shouldn't be worried about the other things they could be carrying.
Exactly.
Nasty little buggers anyway.
Well, one other question I had for you, Barb, because you're in the medical field. If somebody is somebody that carries an EpiPen like myself, when it expires, how long do you actually have before the EpiPen is ineffective?
Now that's a good question.
They do not know. And I'm trying to think, it's probably about 8-10 years ago when, back then you just carried one EpiPen, now you carry two. All doctors prescribe two because the CDC and EpiPen say do not prescribe one, prescribe two.
And it's always good to have a spare.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, but the reason being is my EpiPen was recalled, and I refused to give it to the pharmacist till he told me why. And the reason is they had a huge batch that was underfilled. And so because that could potentially happen again, it's why doctors are supposed to prescribe a duo pack. In case there's not enough Epi in the first one, you got another one to take over. But when it expires, I can tell you I've kept mine 1, 2, 3 months because I figured it's still got good stuff and I've got two, but they really don't know. Or it's a way to make money, okay? They do know. I can't tell you that. I don't work for them.
Okay, well, in your opinion, should you replace them as soon as they expire, or do you have a little bit of a window there you can work with?
I figure it's going to be good for 3 to 6 months afterwards. That's just my guess, okay? Otherwise, the expiration date would be sooner. So it's still good after that date. It just probably diminishes in effectiveness as time goes on. But to me, an expired EpiPen is better than none at all.
Well, you do have a point there. Yeah, I can see where that sense of logic would work. So,
because they're saying it's 100% effective on the date it expires, okay? It's still 100% on that day. So we'll never know at what percentage it is less effective over time.
right, if anybody has an idea about the breakdown rate, they're not saying.
Right. Because they may have checked it and they may have had different results, and so they have to say, okay, we're only going to say it's good for this long.
That makes sense.
Okay, for liability, they have to give that date that they know it is still 100% effective.
Right. So for,
And-
say, those who carry it, but maybe they feel like, oh, I don't know, for whatever reason, when it expires, that they may not be able to afford to replace it right then, they've got a little bit of a window they can probably play with.
I can tell you I have given my EpiPen with a month ago to somebody that couldn't afford it, given them 2-pack, and said, I know you can't afford your Epi, and they're probably good for 6 months after, but I'd rather you have 2 that have expired than none at all.
Right, you may not feel that you can afford it, but if something happens, you can't afford to not have it.
Doug asked, why is it called the pen if it's a shot? Well, Doug, it is a spring-loaded injection that any idiot can give themselves if they can read 1, 2, 3. When you open your EpiPen, it says, and it comes with a trainer for those that have never used one, so that you can train on yourself how to give it. And it says, 1, do this, 2, do this. It shows you where on your leg you should hit with the pen. It tells you to hold it there for 5 to 10 seconds. And you have to smack yourself with it, hold it onto your body, not let it bounce to get the injection. And so, pen's just a cool name.
Right. It's just a term for an auto-injector, basically.
Exactly. And for those that have no insurance or have insurance but have that massive $50 copay like I do for a 2-pack, you can type into your server free EpiPen coupon, and it will take you to EpiPen site. You answer 2 questions. Are you over 18? And do you have an anaphylactic reaction to something or allergic to something? And you put yes, yes. And they asked if you're an adult because children should get an EpiPen Junior under a certain weight. And
right.
That's why it's saying, are you over 18? And you get to print your coupon, and it's good for a year. And every year, EpiPen gives that. It expires December 31st every year. I print one every year. The bad thing, when my doc calls it into Walmart or electronically, I have to go to the desk and where you would drop a prescription and say, I want you to run my coupon. And so they have to basically pull it off the shelf, rerun the coupon. If you have medication prescription coverage, it costs you absolutely nothing, or it covers up to $100 without insurance. So that is the way for you, have a discount.
Nice. Well, see, Doug learned a few things tuning in tonight.
Cody brought up bee stings. And actually, I looked at those in snakes. I looked at a lot of different animals. And the number one killer, as far as animals and all that, are bees and wasps. I have to flip my page here. Oh, where'd my data go?
Oh, no.
God, I forget how many. Yeah, I've got so many notes, it's crazy. Snake bites are 7,000 to 8,000 a year, so that's not a whole lot across the country. But the weirdest death I found on snakes, some guy was found in a parking lot, Walmart, or Lowe's. It was Lowe's. They called 911. EMS got there, and he actually had a venomous snake as a pet, and he committed suicide in the parking lot with his pet. And they found it ran over by a car, thank God. But I was like, are you kidding me? People are freaking nuts.
Yeah, I guess that's a new one for me.
Yeah, I was like freaked out. It was listed. You can go. I think it was on Wikipedia, which may or may not be reliable.
Right.
Yeah, but they even had the people's names. Okay.
Wow.
Of how old they were, how they died from this snake, and it was on there. This kid killed himself with this freaking snake. But on a reliable site, the highest incident of fatalities by animals are bees and wasps, and they're about 53 per year. So that's really not that bad unless you're like me that's allergic to those Japanese hornets. It's why I carry an EpiPen on me all the time.
Right, which, I mean, in that aspect, that can be a very serious thing for some people. If I remember right, that's why Swansea carries an EpiPen.
Yes, it is. And the best thing I can say is if you're allergic to something really bad, that's, wasps, bees, whatever, not only carry Epi on you, carry Pepsid. Don't buy Benadryl, okay? Well, buy it, carry it, but that's your second-line drug. You can take, and you didn't hear this from me, don't quote me, but if you came to the ER, I'm going to give you 40 milligrams of Pepsid, IV, okay, if you're in anaphylaxis. You're just going to get it. And so you can take 40 milligrams of Pepsid, and it comes 20, okay, over the counter. So carry 2 with you. You can't take it but every 12 hours. But you're not going to get drowsy, okay? It's a histamine 2 blocker, I believe, where Benadryl is a histamine 1 blocker. So they block different histamines. But it's better to take 40 of Pepsid. It's going to take 30 minutes to kick in. At 45 minutes, you're good. But that may get you out of the woods, where Benadryl, if I take, I'm out in 5 minutes.
Right. Not to mention the fact, if you're in an area where that could be an issue to begin with, 1, obviously, make sure you've got your pen on you, and 2, make sure the people you're hunting with know it's on you, too.
Exactly. And I can tell you, everybody that has medical history, medical allergies, you take medication, you should always carry a list with all that information on you in your wallet, in your purse, in your backpack, something. And if you've got a heart problem, anything major, diabetes, you name it, you should be wearing a bracelet, saying, I have allergy to bees, I'm a diabetic. You can put so many things on them now.
Oh, yeah, you can. I did one a couple of months ago for a digger, actually, that said that, what was that? Said that they were a heart attack patient and suffered from COPD.
Exactly. And so you need, at DIV, they tell you to bring a marker because you have to wear a name tag at all times. And they tell you to write your medical history and your meds with a marker on the back of it.
Oh, God, I need a bigger tag.
I know, me too. Me too. It's like, okay, so I carry it, on my person.
Right. Check this out, Barb. We've got Steve Zazuli calling.
Oh, the Lord have mercy. I must be in trouble.
How's it going, buddy?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, Barb. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. I'm just sitting in my living room listening to you guys, listening to the podcast tonight.
Probably wishing you were back in Aruba.
Yeah. Well, I actually been finding what you guys have been talking about really interesting because, as you might know, I do a lot of land hunting, but
Yes, you do.
I'm sitting here thinking that, yeah, there's some dangerous things on land. However, in the water, there's things that will kill you immediately.
Right. Some of them bites you get underwater aren't good at all.
No, and I don't want to sway the conversation of where you guys are going right now, but
well,
yeah,
no, I mean it's all medical safety and awareness in the field, whether that field is underwater or above water.
Yeah, and there's some pretty dangerous things in the water that, people always think of sharks and this type of thing, but there's there's other things in the water that are very, very dangerous that people they're not even aware of, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you've got the sharks, the jellyfish, the stingrays, but that's only just a drop in the bucket.
Oh yeah, you've got like fire coral, you got lionfish, there's sea snakes, there's as you said, there's stingrays, tiger sharks, great white sharks. Like it goes on and on. But I'll give you a little bit of a quiz here. Do you know what the number one thing in the water that has killed the most amount of human beings ever?
Panic.
Well, probably panic. But it's actually an animal. You know what it is? It's
sea urchin.
You're close, Barb. You're very close. Want to take a guess, Josh?
Gosh, I don't know. Coral. I don't know.
Some spiny.
You know what it is? It's the box jellyfish.
Ah.
The box jellyfish is responsible for more human deaths than snakes, sharks, saltwater crocodiles combined.
There's some busy little aquatic life.
I did look up deaths by sharks and alligators and all that, and overall compared to a lot of the other things out there, it was so minute. It was, we hear about it when it happens, but they're actually few and far between when somebody dies from one.
Yeah, when we're dive detecting, I mean, we see snakes, water snakes, and we see, we're around fire coral and lionfish, and we always see sharks. Like when we were at Aruba, it was late one evening, and I was at one of the beaches. Ryan and I were in the water, and it was just getting a little late, and the sun was coming down. It was beautiful. If you see my last video,
that was very well done.
Oh, thank you. I'll let my daughter know, Josh. Thank you very much. You see a part there where I kind of hold the detector up, and there's like a sailboat in the horizon. It looks beautiful there at that beach. It was that time of the evening. The sun was coming down, and we were in the water, and I was out a little bit. And sure enough, I started getting this funky feeling that something was around me. And I look out, and there it is, shark, right? You can see I saw the shadow go by me twice. And I'm like, oh, crap. At that moment, you wish you had a tick on you and you were on land.
Right.
Right? And I was like, okay, like you cannot panic because they will sense it.
Exactly.
So,
that's when you just go, yeah, I'm not here. You don't see me.
Yeah, you just start heading into shore, right? And just hope that he doesn't come up behind you. But yeah, on land and in water, I called in because I also wanted to mention to everybody listening that, obviously in water for our water hunters and dive detectors that go in the water, there's lots of stuff in the water too.
Yeah, and it really is a whole other ballgame because you are truly a long way from home if something happens.
Truly. Well, when I won't take up too much more of your time, Barb and Josh, because Barb, I really like I know you got a ton of information you want to get out there before you're done the show tonight. But just one last quick story. When we got to Aruba, we got there at about 3 or 4 o'clock, and we still had like an hour once we got down to the beach to get in the water. And Ryan was like, "Let's get in the water." And there was seagrass there at the beach where we were at, and I hadn't experienced that type of seagrass so close in on a beach before. So we got in, and I'm going over top of the seagrass, and all of a sudden I start feeling bites all over my body. And I'm like, okay, is this just my skin kind of acting weird with the salt water, or am I actually getting bit? And I stood up and I was like, oh man, I got bites all over me. And what I didn't know is that there was like what do they call it? A seagrass fly that's in the water, in that grass that bites you. So I stand up, and then I see Ryan walking in, which was unusual. And I said, what happened to you? He goes, I don't know. I just stepped on something. And he lifts up his foot, and he's got a welt on his foot the size of a banana. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Wow, that was a quick reaction.
This was our first, 15 minutes in Aruba. I was like, oh, man, this could be a long week.
Right.
Right, so we learned right away, you can go into any scenario, and there's just funky stuff that you might not be aware of, right? So,
right, plenty of variables that you have to remain aware of.
Yeah. So, we always wear foot equipment and stuff like that when we're in the water, but, who would have ever thought that you would have gone over a bit of seagrass and gotten bit like that? And it stung. I needed a couple glasses of rum that night just to take away the pain.
But I'm
anyway,
glad.
hey,
I'm glad you
go
brought
ahead,
that
Barb.
up, Steve, because you never know what you're going to step on, and wearing something on your feet is so important if you're going to be in the water metal detecting. Today's age of people they're litterers. They throw just about anything and everything in the water, bury it on the beach, and you need to be vigilant. Otherwise, you're going to get cut with something. So keep your tetanus shot up to date, especially if you're going out of the country, please.
Right.
Oh, that's so important. That's a really good point. And my problem, Barb, is I'm like a kid. When I get to these places, I just want to run into the water with my detector, so fast, and not think about anything. And I'm as I get older, I'm realizing you just can't do that kind of stuff. You really got to go through this stuff in your head and say, okay, am I really prepared?
Right. Slow down a little bit and look before you leap.
Yeah. So, and I'm getting another year older tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
I did see that, actually. Happy early birthday.
Thank you very much. So, anyways, yeah, there is some stuff in the water you got to be careful of. Really enjoy listening to this podcast. I think it's really important that the people that are detecting hear this kind of stuff, because anything can happen when you're detecting. One last little story. I was out in the woods, and I came across a little swampy area, and I could see a piece of wood going across the little swampy area, and I thought, oh, someone's put that down there to walk across.
Yeah, look, I got a little bridge.
Yeah, it was all covered in grass. So I jumped to the middle of it, and just as luck would be, there was a huge spike coming out of the wood, and my foot went right through it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That sucks.
Yeah. And I realized, you just got to be super careful. You got to be careful. So, listen,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take up your time. I wanted to call in. I want to say hello to Barb, one of our little champion women out there, metal detectors. I've heard lots about her, and she's supposed to be amazing. So I just wanted to say hello to Barb. Right? And you also know my friend Layton, is that correct?
Yes, she does.
Layton lives about 25 minutes from my sister. I grew up on Martha's Vineyard Island, so it's a shame I didn't know Layton when I lived there. But him and I went hunting, and we got plans to go out and detect this summer.
Nice. Yeah, I've been out there many times to visit him, and I love your area of the States out there. It is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't live, but I'd like to go back and go metal detecting, so.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, so does Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah, this time it better not be raining, and he better not get the first Indian of the day, and he better take me someplace better than the park he's killed.
You gotta understand something about Leighton, okay? He's going to take you to some good places that he's already gone to.
Right.
I know, I'm just...
Which means it's there to be found, but you're going to have to work for it.
Yeah. He's not dumb. He's going to go hit those first, and then he'll take
I was supposed to work the day we got together, and because of the weather, his charter got canceled. And so he texted me, "Are you game?" And it's raining. I'm like, "Well, of course I'm game. I'll bring the Pro," which I should have taken the Deus, but I took the AT Pro. And so we were out there in the rain. It was crazy. My sister's walking around videoing us with her umbrella. So she was the only one that was dry. And it was cold, it was nasty, and so hopefully this year it'll be better weather.
Yeah, you guys are diehards.
Yeah, we are.
That's great. That's great. Well, I tell you, I always love talking to women who are in our hobby, and I love to encourage them, and I think it's awesome that you're doing your thing.
I want to tell you, metal detecting's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I can't argue that.
Yeah, I mean, we've met so many people, many great people, and heard so many great stories, and I mean, nothing like treasure hunting, that's for sure. So, and listen, you know, you guys are invited down to Florida. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in April is the
Sunshine Shootout.
Yeah. So apparently I missed the show. That you guys were talking about me. But and I just missed it too. But yeah, I'm going to be down there speaking, and I'm going to bring down a bunch of swag. I certainly hope, I haven't said too much, I certainly hope a bunch of people come to that day before where I'm speaking, because I've got some really nice stuff I'm going to be giving away.
Oh, I'm sure there will be a number of people.
Yeah, and I'm just going to wait to see who shows up. And, you know, if they decide to stay at home, they're going to be really upset the next day. And the people that do come, boy, they're going to be happy.
Well, they ought to be happy anyway to get a guest such as yourself to show up and speak.
Well, I think I'm the runner-up, to be quite honest. No, just kidding.
Well, and I do think Carl Fismer will be there too, so you'll get to see Fizz again.
Yeah, Fizz will be there. And then one last plug before I let you guys go. You know that Jack Summers, my really good friend up here at Radio World, he is going to have an event this summer, and it hasn't been officially announced, but there are some individuals that will be coming to this that we've been waiting years for to come, and they're coming to this event. So maybe we'll announce that on the next or the following Beyond Sight and Sound, but I'd like to invite everybody who's listening to come to this event this summer. It is going to rock. And then I don't know if you know much about Jack, but he'll get $15,000-$20,000 worth of swag that he gives out at his event.
Oh, easy.
Can you at least tell us what state and what month it's going to be in?
I believe it's going to be in July. He's probably going to kill me because I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking June for some reason.
Is it June?
I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, you know what to do is the next Beyond Sight and Sound, I'm going to get all the info, and maybe, just maybe, they'll let me announce who's going to be coming up to the event. But I'm loving it. Like, seriously, this is going to be a premier event.
Can you
Right.
let us know the location? Not
Toronto. Yep, it's going to be in Toronto.
Oh God, that's so far away.
Well, you got to come then, Barb. Have you ever been to Canada, Barb?
Actually, when I was in high school, I went to Nova Scotia.
Well, I've been to Nova Scotia too, as people know.
Right?
Yeah,
you've spent a little bit of time there.
Yeah, I visited a little island there. I stayed there for a little while.
Right.
And then, have you ever been to Oak Island, Barb?
Only place I've been is Nova Scotia. I was in the band, and we reciprocated with the folks in Nova Scotia. Our band went up there for a weekend, and then they came down to Martha's Vineyard in the summer. And
oh, man. Nice.
Yeah, I was one of two people that had the opportunity to not be in town. I was out in Booney Potato Apple Land on a farm, and so I didn't get to see a whole lot.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
My host family was fabulous. Learned a whole lot, and it was beautiful country, but that's the only time I have been out of this country.
Man, you need to come to Toronto. Everything they say about Canadians is true. They're the sweetest people. You won't want to go home. They'll treat you just like family. And the event is rocking. It is fantastic. So there's my official invitation.
And it is a super big deal to those in Canada. Jack puts on a great event.
It's the largest event in Canada. It's our premier event, and Jack is awesome at it. Like you will go home with handfuls of stuff, guaranteed. It's always the way it is. So yeah, there's a little bit of a plug for that. I'm going to let you guys back to your show. I just want to thank you. It was a pleasure talking to both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the call. We'll have to get you on sometime and hear about Aruba.
Oh, yes. I got some great stories. Some great stories. So
awesome.
Okay, God bless you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for the call, Steve.
Okay, we'll see you.
Well, there you go, Barb. That was quite the compliment for you, I would think, wasn't it?
God, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, Steve called in to talk to me. Hell's bells.
Right. Well, and he did have some very good points.
I never thought to look at water. I mean, I looked at the statistics for sharks and water moccasins and things like that. But, there's more injuries than death, which, I mean, the injuries can be pretty bad. But you don't think of all those other things, Who would have thought about flies and freaking seaweed?
Yeah, exactly. I never would have thought of that. And you had a good point as well. When you're in the water like that, make sure you're wearing some sort of foot protection. I mean, I don't go in with just some cheap dollar store pair of water shoes. I go in with a pair of actually hard-soled dive boots.
Well, I do rafting around here, and I've bought me some really good hard rubber-soled that grip.
Right.
They're made for rafting, so they're not slick. They've got tread on the bottom. And so if I'm hunting in the river or anywhere, I wear those. I don't go in with boots or sneakers or anything. I wear my shoes that were made for being in the river.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these are, too. And realistically, they don't cost that much for the peace of mind and protection.
And I bought them at the end of summer, like probably end of fall, when it's getting too cold to raft. And I bought, I don't know how many pairs. I bought pairs for my sisters when they come because we've gone raft. And I bought them like at 75% off. I think I paid $6 a pair for them, which they were normally close to $20, you know?
Right, you can't beat that. Not if it'll protect your foot from, say, you know, a broken beer bottle or, you know, maybe like in the situation Steve was talking about, you go to jump at something and you don't realize there's that spike sticking up. You know, maybe it doesn't stop it. Maybe it lessens the injury a little bit, but still, some protection is better than none.
And, you know, we've all done stupid things, and that was his point. You know, I'm just going to jump there, and jumped on a spike. I've jumped off a pier into the water and landed on a bottle and cut my foot wide open. I've cut my foot wide open with the shovel.
Right.
You know, that was my most brilliant, spectacular. But again, that goes back to keep your tetanus shot up to date. And if you cut yourself, and it's 5 years or older, go get another one. That's
absolutely.
CDC recommendation. It's every 10 years unless you do something to your body after 5, and then it warrants getting another shot.
Right, which I was even thinking the other day myself. I need to update my tetanus, but as soon as I get my insurance situation straightened out, I will be doing that.
Do you have a local health department?
Well, I'm sure we do.
Well, they're free at the health department, so there's no excuse not to get a tetanus. Every health department has to give free tetanus shots.
Well, see, there's another valuable piece of information, and I've got to find the local health department here pretty soon anyway. So
it's where I get mine.
Yeah, so that works out well. That's grand.
It's free. I go in, they say, what do you need? I say, I'm due for my tetanus shot. They say, have a seat, fill this out, takes you 2 minutes. I'm usually in and out in under 30 minutes, and I'm up to date on my tetanus shot, and I now have a record that stays with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that is one thing, especially for those of us who are diggers. That's probably one of the most important things you should keep up on, because it's real easy to get yourself cut on a piece of metal out there.
And lockjaw is one of the worst things you can have. It's worse than Lyme disease. And
yes, it is.
And it's so preventable, where Lyme disease you can or can't prevent it. But it's why they give the shots for free. They don't want you to get it.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely agree. You've got to be careful out there with that stuff. And actually, I can speak from experience. I've had lockjaw. It's no fun.
No, it's not. And I want to talk a little about snakes, just because I didn't hit too much on that.
Right, absolutely.
There's only 7,000 to 8,000, bites per year. What I did not realize is most of the snake bites are from copperheads, and if you're going to get bit by a snake, it's actually the one to get bit by. And I never knew that. People always say, oh, my God, we killed a 10-foot copperhead out in front of your property. I'm like, oh, great. You actually get less sick from copperheads than you do from rattlesnakes. So if you're going to get bit by one, that's the one to get bit by. It's really not fatal at all. Their venom is not as poisonous as a rattlesnake. I did not realize that there are over 20 species. There's 20 species of rattlesnakes, but the most fatal bites come from your eastern and western diamondbacks, which go from coast to coast.
Right, and also with that, you have to be very careful too. I would almost be more willing to tangle with an adult rattler than a young rattler.
Oh, the younger ones, their venom is more poisonous, so you actually have a greater potential for dying.
Exactly. They, basically in a nutshell, they're still young. They don't know how to control it. If they strike you, you're getting everything they got.
Oh, and what's really bad about the statistics related to snake bites is that the majority of the people that do die because they don't get medical attention.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're not sure what bit them, or they didn't have the sense of mind, like Josh Silva. A few years back, he was actually bit by a younger rattler, and he didn't even realize it at first. He just thought he got pricked by a thorn or something, until he happened to kind of roll his arm a little bit and saw the other trail of blood, and immediately grabbed his bandana and tried to tie it off, because they were quite a ways from medical attention. Had he not done that or thought about it and thought to stay calm, it could have been a whole other situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I started my research reading a book that Butch gave to me for helping them out at DIB. It's called Relic Quest.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying something about that.
It's a good book. It talks about permissions. It talks about the different types of hunting, different machines, different eras, ethics. It covers almost everything in the world about metal detecting at a very low level. But it has a section on animals. And this, I thought, was hysterical. It's telling you how to identify between good and bad snake. And I'm reading it going, okay, do I have my binoculars with me? Because the first thing it says is look at the head. Well, sometimes you can't tell the head what shape it is, but it's not 100% reliable. So, right. Okay, why do I want to remember that when something I don't think is deadly can kill me? I was just like, okay.
Right.
Excuse me. So then it says to look at their eyes, and I'm going, how close do I got to be? Okay.
Right. Excuse me, Mr. Snake. Can you sit still for a second? I want to see your eyes.
Yeah. Well, you stop going and let me see if. And so if they're round, they're good. If they're elliptical, they're bad. And then it says, and if they have a pit between their nostril and their eye, it's a bad snake. And I'm going, yeah, but how freaking close do I got to be to find the pit? You know?
99.9% of people aren't even going to notice.
Yeah, right? And this is the funniest. I know the guys are going to love this. I just had to throw this in tonight. It says, if you can look at the back side of the snake, okay, so that means you got to pick it up or do something with it, right?
Right.
It shows a picture. It actually has pictures of the anus of the snake. And it's a little hole. And the scales below from the hole to the tail, if they're double-rowed scales, which means they have two sets of scales all the way down, they are good. But if it's a single scale all the way to the tail, you know, one after, like bands, then it's a bad snake. And I'm going, who the hell's going to pick up a snake to check their butthole and see what type of scales they have?
Right, somebody grabbed that snake that just bit me. I want to look at its ass.
Yeah.
Where's the Vaseline?
Yeah, I'm like cracking up. I'm like, okay. But I do, the one thing they did say that made sense, if you did get bitten, and you can kill the dang thing, to do that, and then check it, and at least then you'll know, did you get bit by a bad or good snake, you know?
Right, or at the very least, you can take it with you, and hopefully someone can identify it to tell you.
And they recommend that, either taking a picture or taking it with you. But when I was reading about the eyes and, you know, the scales below the the butthole and all that. I'm like, I ain't getting that close to a snake.
Yeah, I mean, we're not there to give it a physical. You know.
It cracked me up. It really did.
Nice. But
So,
you do still have to watch for them, too.
yeah, the only other critters I could find data on were black widows and brown recluse, and people don't die from them unless you don't seek treatment once you get infected. You know, they cause mayhem on your skin and wounds, and, you know, they're going to get infected, and usually people that die from them is just because they didn't have any sense to begin with anyway.
Right. Yeah, they were breathing out of the wrong orifice.
Yeah, but, you know, they normally don't kill you. They will hurt you. You're going to need antibiotics. Yeah, just about everything, you know, antibiotics or, you know, anti-venom, you know, can take care of. The two highest states rated for the most venomous attacks were Texas and Florida. That was kind of shocking.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising. I mean, I guess I can see Texas, but Florida, I knew they were there, but that's kind of surprising.
And I think, too, it's because of the cottonmouth, which can cause death. I think that's why they rate so high.
That's a good possibility, yes.
And then the next states were North Carolina. I'm just like in this state of wonderful.
Yeah, you're in a great spot.
Oklahoma, Georgia, yeah, Louisiana, and West Virginia. Those were the next most common states for bad venomous bites. So not as bad as looking at Lyme disease.
Well, I think I'm good sticking right here in Ohio then. But like you said, with the Lyme's disease, and much like with a few of the other things that we've talked about tonight too, the sooner you get attention for it, the better off you're going to be.
And you know, that what's so bad about, you know, a snake is obvious. You get a snake bite, you've got puncture wounds, you know, that somebody can see. They can look at them and tell if it's venomous or not by the way the fangs bite. They look different.
Right.
And they can check for antibodies and determine do they need to give you the anti-venom serum. Lyme disease, you may or may not get a bullseye. I had a bullseye, and they said it wasn't a bullseye. I'm like, well, what the hell is it then?
Right. What do you call it?
Yeah, what do you call it? Like pink, white, red, you know? And so sometimes I wish I'd gone to the health department. I think if I had gone to the health department right away, they would have went, oh, my God, that's Lyme, and treated me. I shouldn't have taken the amount of no's I took before I finally got someone to listen to me.
Right.
So I think with, you know, snakes, spiders, a brown recluse bite, you know, it starts to get necrotic. And so they're going to put you on the big guns of antibiotics the minute you start having skin breakdown. So I think Lyme is probably the worst because you may have it and not know it for many, many, many months, years, whatever.
Right. But that is one advantage that we have as, you know, listeners and diggers and stuff, is we can hear other people's experiences, like what you had to deal with and stuff like that, to where some of us can go in and say, okay, this is what I think I've got. I'm not taking no for an answer. Run the test. Don't just look at me and say it's not. Run the test.
And you know, I've known my doctor since 94. And so when she's going, no, Barb, I'm like, it is, just test me. And I'm arguing with her. And I just left there so frustrated. And when I go for my follow-up, and she's like, I'm still shocked it is. I'm like, how the F are you still shocked?
Right.
My titer's through the roof, you know? Get over it.
Yeah, exactly. We've concluded that we know what the issue is. Now get the ball rolling and try to get me the help I need.
Yeah, I finally, and she was going to let me go, and I said the ER only gave me 10 days of doxy. It takes 21 days. Could you please write me a script for 11 more days? And she had to go and look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going, the only reason I come to you is because I can call up and say, I need this or that, and I get it,
Right.
98% of the time. But man, did it make me take a hard look at our friendship relationship.
Well, absolutely. And if listeners don't take anything else away from this show, they should at least stop and think about the fact that you are very knowledgeable in the medical field. And when you're having to argue with your doctor like that, because your doctor was going to just go ahead and let you go.
Oh, you break
A lot of other people, if your doctor was just going to let you go, a lot of other people, they may not be that aware or that knowledgeable and just take their doctor's word for it.
Yeah, and I mean, she was ready. She's like, okay, well, you'd be intrigued. I'm like, they only gave me a script for 10 days. Write me more.
Exactly.
And she did, and when I went and filled it, of course I used Walmart Pharmacy, and I've never changed because the pharmacist has been there for like 15 years, and I know him well. And when I got put on the first antibiotic, he was like, you okay with that? You all right? And I'm like, yeah. Then I got the second antibiotic, and he's like, oh, your doc didn't like the other one? I went, no, she added this. And he's going, oh, you need probiotics. And I'm like, I'm so sick. Could you just help me pick some out? And then when they gave me the doxy, I go in, and he looked at me. I said, I've been trying to get them to treat me for Lyme disease, and finally I got somebody to test me, and I'm positive. And he's like, are you kidding? And so he was even shocked,
Right. Yeah, because for diggers, this is something that we are exposed to. For some of us more than others, it's not something to play with.
And Bill just made a point. After you take your doxy, they should redo your titers, and my doc refused to do them. And so when they offered me doxycycline this fall for a respiratory problem, and I took it, I knew my titers still had to be significantly high because I could tell I felt so good after just a day or two on the doxy that I'm like, oh my God, I still have, and I knew I still had Lyme, but that assured me I did. And
right.
What people don't understand is you cannot kill Lyme disease. Doxycycline does not kill it. It inhibits the bacteria from replicating in your body, in your bloodstream. And then your body's got to kill the rest of it. And so depending on your immune system, depends on how long it takes your body to kill it.
Right, and for some of us, it could take a whole lot longer.
Exactly. People are immunosuppressed, and so I totally agree. You should be having yearly titers to see how bad do you still have the dang crap.
Right. And I know Bill and I had talked about it before when he ran to the end of his cycle of doses, if I remember right, where it was like, well, you need to get back in there and have the doctor test you again. Because if it's still showing up, he needs to start getting you some more meds.
Yeah, so I'm to the point now, like, if I get sick and my doctor says doxy and I'm thinking something else, I'm just going to say, sure, hit me with your best doxycycline.
Right. Well, I can understand, though.
Well, we can abuse antibiotics, but I think in this case, I've looked at the literature so much till I'm blind, and there's such an argument about chronic Lyme disease, and they have, actually, there's a lot of kooks out there that deal with it, and there's some really good docs that deal with it. But I had an infectious disease doc. I went to him just for my mom to make her feel better. And when I go home, I might actually go to her doctor and have her run tests. I don't care if I have to pay out of network. But I went to this doctor who's, in this big group, infectious disease group, and he looked at me and went, "Good thing is you can never catch Lyme disease again." And I went, "You're kidding, right?" And he went, "No." And I went, "You're wrong. Have a good day." And I left. And he just looked at me, and I went out and hit my tablet. Well, there are 13 different strains of Lyme disease, and you cannot catch the same one that you had, but you can catch all the other ones.
Right. Well, I have nothing on my list of catching any of them. No plans to catch any of them.
Doug says Doxy makes him sick. I'm sorry for you, Doug. There are other antibiotics out there. I think there's one or two that work just as good, but most antibiotics don't.
That's a good point.
Bill
It may
says,
make him sick, but I guess I'd be willing to deal with the being sick a little bit if it takes care of getting the lines in check.
Actually, I'm going to tell you what. Doxy does make you sick. And I took one Pepsid, every 12 hours for 21 days, and it combated all of the nausea, the vomiting, everything. So just take your freaking Pepsid, take your Doxy, and you'll do great. Worst scenario, have your doctor give you a script for Zofran, which is an antiemetic. It works on the brain. It blocks off your vomiting centers, so you cannot puke. So, there's other things you can take with it that will get you through those 21 days.
Nice. Also good information. And you said Bill had mentioned something in the chat?
Oh, God, what did he put? Lyme looks similar to syphilis and can swim upstream faster than a white blood cell, can corkscrew into soft tissue, hard critter to kill. It is. And I'm going to tell you, I had it. I was home. My niece died in, July, I think. I went home and it was August, sorry. I got sick as crap in September. I went to CWPPO and was sick as crap there and came back. And I was on antibiotics while I was up there, the wrong ones, and came back and then developed a rash. And the rash for Lyme looks almost exactly like the rash for syphilis.
Wow.
And so, unbeknownst to me, they did test me for syphilis. And thank God I don't have it. I can honestly say I do not have syphilis. I was shocked when I called. I was in class, and my student said, "Miss Connell, you look bad. Do you need a break?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then I went, "I think I'm going to go puke." Yeah. And I did go puke, and I came back, and an instructor said, "You look bad." I said, "I feel bad, but I'm good. I puked. I'm good. It's not the flu. It's my Lyme disease." And I said, "Speaking of, let me call the ER." And I called the ER, and I said, "Jamie, who is the director I've known for years," and I said, "It's Barb. What's my results?" And she goes, "Well, the good news is your syphilis is negative." And I had her on speakerphone in my classroom, and my students got to hear that.
Oh, I'm sure they loved that.
They did. And she goes, "But your Lyme is very positive. You're sicker than crap." I said, "I know. I just went and puked." Thank you.
Right, yeah. Thanks for the heads up there, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. So I had just got on the doxycycline, I think, like 3 days or 2 days prior to that. So I was still puking, and but my kids were the ones that started Googling Lyme disease and syphilis, and they're the ones that are going, "Oh my God, Miss Connell, look, the two rashes look alike. That's why they tested you."
Right. Suddenly things become clear.
So guess what? If your doc says, "I think you got syphilis because you got this rash," you might want to say, "Can you please test me for Lyme disease too?"
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
the only difference is with syphilis, you get the rash on the bottom of your feet and the palms of your hand, and I only had a couple on the edges, and that's the reason they tested me, because it was inconclusive which one it was.
oh, okay.
Yeah, with syphilis, you get the rash on your palms and the soles of your feet. You don't know how many times they made me take my socks off to take pictures and look, and they're like, "Well, there's one right here, but is it?" And so they tested me just in case. And thank God the syphilis came back negative.
Right. There you go. Well, I think we've covered quite a bit of stuff already tonight.
Doug wants to know, does Doxy work for syphilis? I think it does, but not real good. Just check the CD. Doug is asking for a friend. Just check the CDC website. It is your most reliable place for those types of diseases and treatment, and they'll let you know, Doug, okay?
Right. Or you could try Cody's method and go hunting in a bikini with socks.
I don't think that'll keep you from getting syphilis unless you don't take your underwear off.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's bound to get something hunting like that.
But I just want to wrap up with, definitely have a list of your medications. If you take medications throughout the day, take them with you. Take lots of water. Stay hydrated, guys. I mean, that's the most important thing. You know, Swansea goes out there 5-6 miles. So do the Stout Diggers. Carry lots of food, lots of water. Carry your meds. Take that Pepsid with you. You can buy Walmart. It's like $3 for like 50 pills. I mean, how cheap is that? If nothing else, you know, keep 2 on you at all times. That's the most you can take at once. Carry a couple Benadryl just in case. Make sure they're not expired. I would carry an EpiPen with me if you got medical insurance and you get that free coupon up to $100. Well, you never know when you're going to get anaphylaxis. It isn't the first time you're bitten or stung by something. It's the second time because your body has made the antibodies. So if you can get free Epi with that coupon, just carry it with you. You may not need it. It may be your buddy that needs it.
Right.
It could save somebody, especially if you can get it for free.
Right.
And make sure you always have something that identifies who you are on you. That's kind of my closing tips. I'm like, and keep your tetanus up to date.
Right. Exactly. Or it's the plank.
It's free. You know, why would... I know there are a lot of tree huggers and do-gooders, whatever you want to call them, and they don't want you to take flu shots and this and that. But the tetanus has proven to be a valuable shot, so why wouldn't you do it?
Yes, very good point. I'm not real big on the flu shots or anything myself either, but I do try to make sure I'm up to date on tetanus.
Exactly. So, just those few things, an EpiPen, some Pepcid, some Benadryl, some antibiotic cream, something you can use as a tourniquet, even a bandana. I used it on my foot. I threw it away. I need a new one. If somebody would like to send me a blue bandana, I would love you.
Right, because the red ones just don't work as well for you.
Doesn't. The blue is so much better. I got to get one. But something that you could, something as simple as a bandana. You can wrap your arm. You can use it as a tourniquet. Just simple things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of this stuff, it's not like it costs very much. I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Exactly.
Well, shows like this are very good to touch on from time to time, and I know I've heard from others in the past that they really enjoy it when we dedicate these shows to medical and safety awareness like this. So it is something that we should touch on occasionally, and it has been a while since we've done one, so we're very glad to have gotten this one done tonight.
Well, I really appreciate you hitting me up and asking me to be on. I really appreciate that. And I love talking medical.
Exactly. That's why you are a excellent person for the topic at hand. And get a few good compliments along the way.
God, I still don't believe that. Steve, I'm going to have to post that on my page going, hell's bells, Steve called in and gave me kudos.
Right. And speaking of lady diggers out there in the hobby, as long as all goes well and I'm able to be live Wednesday, we will be back with none other than Siren Kimmy from Girls Rock Metal Detecting.
Oh, Lord, I love Kimmy. She's great. So, good person, good heart, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It sounds like she's looking forward to it, and, we're certainly looking forward to hearing from her.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I know the guys said they didn't know if they could listen to me for an hour, but they've listened for almost 2, so they did good.
Right, kudos to them. All right, well, thanks for taking the time and giving us the call, Barb.
Yep.
You have a wonderful evening. We'll see you. Well, so we definitely got to hear some more on safety and medical awareness there in the field. Always a good topic to cover from time to time. And, one to revisit occasionally. And the archives of previous episodes that we've touched on these topics in the past should still be available. You can check them out. Go back through the archives. Maybe you can search for them. I'm not sure how they show up in the list myself, honestly. But, it's still good information. It's good to revisit. One, it's easy to forget about these things. It's easy to not think about it. Out of sight, out of mind. So it's good to bring it up. It's a refresher. It's a reminder. And for those newcomers to the hobby who may not have given the topic much thought, it's good food for thought for them as well. So, hopefully you all enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure and throw us a like right here. Obviously, it sounds like we've got some announcements in the upcoming future from Steve as far as the event in Toronto and possibly even more information about the Sunshine Shootout coming up. Who knows? Maybe we'll even hear about his recent trip, him and Ryan out in Aruba. And like I said, Wednesday, we should be live with Siren Kimmy. So there's your little sneak peek for those who may want to know what's going on Wednesday, as long as everything goes together right. Until the next time, I think we're going to get on out of here. You all have a wonderful evening, folks. Thanks for dropping by, and we'll see you on the pages.